Yes, friends. Now we will have a discussion on the further aspects of the merchant banking of your syllabus, Unit 3. In the first lecture series, we have already seen the merchant banking meaning and various aspects relating to merchant banking. In this lecture 2, I would like to discuss on the pre and post issue management of merchant banking. As you know, the collecting funds for the companies or joint stock organizations or any institution, collection of fund is not so easy because most of the organizations, companies will raise funds from the public as a public investments and run the business to form a capital to run the business. The public contribution in the form of shares or in the form of securities is most essential. So every time, whenever the fund is required, the institutions or the companies will come for public offerings. So this public offering of securities is called as issues. So issue management is most essential part of it. Therefore, in this lecture series, we will understand the role of the merchant bankers in issue management and why it is so important. So, before understanding the pre and post management of the merchant banking activities, let us first understand the meaning of issue management. Then in this model, in this study, we will understand the method of issuing securities and the pre and post management activities of merchant bankers. So let us first understand what is issue management. What is issue management? So issue management refers to managing of the public offering of the shares. Not only shares, we call it is issue management. It also covers the securities. Shares are of two kinds that you already know it: equity shares and preference shares. And other securities includes the debentures and bonds of the company. Whenever the company raises the debt capital or the share capital from the public, it has to undergo the issue management activities. So when it issues the securities to the public, it has to follow a lot of rules and regulations. When the company issues securities to public to raise the funds, it has to follow all the legal requirement. It has to satisfy the regulations of the Securities Board of India, Exchange Board of India, SEBI, and Companies Act. Therefore, it has to appoint issue managers compulsorily. Without issue managers, it may not be able to satisfy the legal requirement of the issues because whenever a company issues the shares, there are a lot of legal complications that it should be because every security is considered as an asset. When you are selling an asset to any party, a company needs to follow the rules and regulations where the SEBI's Act will be implemented, Companies Act will come into picture, Contract Act will come into picture. So all these legal requirements needs to be satisfied. So therefore, a company cannot manage its own say issues management when it comes with the public offers because there are no expertise in the company. It cannot appoint any individual manager for that. Therefore, it has to appoint the agencies who are expertised in issue management. So earlier companies used to appoint external agencies for issue management who were not perfectly having this licenses and say what you call as the permissions to operate. Now due to the controlling mechanism of the SEBI, merchant bankers have to operate the issue mechanism. Therefore, companies appoint merchant bankers to manage the issue. The issue management has two stages: pre-issue stage and post-issue stage. We will discuss these in detail after understanding the issue mechanism of the company. The company may raise the funds through issue of securities in the following way. There are different mechanisms of collecting the money by issuing the shares in the public by the companies. The first one we call as initial public offer. It is called as IPO. What is IPO? The company issuing the shares to the public for the first time, the fresh issues will be made. It can be a new company or existing company for expansion of shares. Any new company which comes into picture, it issues the shares to the public by initial public offerings. Initial public offering, shares of the company will be transferred from the companies or the issuing companies to their subsequent buyers of the shares. This is called as a primary market operations. In this primary market operations, companies issue the fresh securities in the market to the public. So this is what we call as initial public offer. Initial public offer may be made by the new companies which are creating the fresh share capital, or maybe an existing company which is expanding the share capitals. So whenever IPO has to be made, the memorandum of association and capital clause in the memorandum of association and articles of association's methodology of issuing the shares must be clearly satisfied. Requirements are to be clearly satisfied. Therefore, initial public offer, whenever it comes, is more technical in nature. Therefore, it requires the help of the merchant bankers. Next is a method is a follow-up public offers, issuing shares to existing shareholders. Normally, what happens is the companies every time may not go to the open share market for issuing its shares. It will be difficult for to collect the money within the time, or sometimes there may not be a perfect response for the from the market. Therefore, if the old company is having already the shareholders of their company, it follows up with the public offers, giving more importance to the existing shareholders. Third one is right issue. Right issue means sometimes the company will come out with giving a right to the existing shareholders on pro rata basis. For example, every 10 shareholder, 10 shares holder person can apply for one additional security of the company. In this case, the additional capital is raised by the company by issuing the shares to the existing shareholders. Sometimes the companies may plow back the profits by issuing the rights issue. Plow back in the sense, if the profit has to be capitalized against the profit, instead of giving the dividend to the customer, the shareholders, it may offer a right to the existing shareholders to subscribe for the shares to the extent of the dividend they are supposed to receive. In this case, if the uh, shareholders buys it, it is called as exercising their right. In this option, no outsider can ask for the issue of the shares. Only the existing shareholders can buy the share. This is what we call as rights issue. There is a one more point called as private placement. Private placement refers to the shares are sold to the institutions or privately owned organizations who want to invest money in the company. So this is what we call as in private placement. There will be an agreement by the share issuing company to the buying company, and it will be allotted, shares will be allotted to them only. So this private placement does not involve public offering in the securities exchange market, in the security like BSE and NSE. Here directly the company will speak to the investing authorities and issue the shares. This is what we call as private placement, not through the stock exchanges and all that. Even in private placement also a separate agreement needs to be made. So this is how the companies will try to reduce the burden of collecting small lot amount from the public. Here in private placement, huge amount of money will be invested by the investors, and to them only the huge amount of securities will be issued to them. After receiving the money, they may go for what you call as reselling those securities. Private investors or buyers may go for reselling their securities in future in the secondary market. Like, then there is one more called as preferential allotment. Preferential allotment refers to the existing customer, if shareholders are given the preference to buy the shares. If they do not buy the shares, then the shares may go to the stock exchange market for open options. So this is what we call as preferential allotment. Then bought out deals refers to when the private placement, during a private placement, if the underwriters or investing company buys huge amount of shares, it may come with a selling offer of those securities in the name of in their own name, underwriters name, through their dealings. This is called as a bought out deals. The company securities which are bought by the underwriters or by the investing companies in a huge amount, they will come with the reissue of those shares to the public. That is called, we call as bought out deals, offer for sale, the huge amount of shares that they have purchased. Suppose for example, if the um, if the pharmacy company, for example Ipca Laboratories, wanted an expansion of their pharmacy business, needs 10 crores of capital requirement, it issues the 10 crores of capital not in the open public but to a private placement, like some underwriters like the insurance companies, ICICI Prudential Insurance Company, or the what we call State Bank of India, if they buy the securities, so this is called a private placement. It will not come for the public offer. But these companies themselves, that is the ICICI and all that, may sell those securities in a bought out deals in the secondary market in the stock exchange operations. The IPCA company's shares are issued from the what you call as State Bank of India or ICICI Bank. So these are called as the what you call as merchant bankers or underwriters. So these people will sell the securities on behalf of the companies, where the company has already received that money from the private placement agencies. So this is how we call as various methodologies of issuing the securities. Now, what is the role of merchant banker in this issue management? If you see, the issue management is classified into two already: pre-issue management and post-issue management. What is the pre-issue management activities of the merchant bankers? How merchant banker is facilitating the issue management of the companies? First one is there are around 9 important steps that we need to understand in the issue management mechanism, where the merchant banker plays a very important role. Step number one: obtaining the stock exchange approval to memorandum and articles of association and taking permission of a SEBI to go ahead with the issue. Whenever the company wants to raise the capital from the public, it is not easy because there must and should be a set what is permission from the Securities Exchange Board of India to accept these shares issued by the company as a asset, and should be allowed to sell those securities in the stock market. Therefore, SEBI has to give a permission to this. To permissions will be granted only by inspecting certain charter certificates of the company, that is memorandum and articles of association and all that. While taking the permission, it asks for the resolutions made in the meetings of the company. So general body meeting and special meetings and all that, they should always form the particular mechanism, what should be the face value of the share, how much money they want to collect, and whether the shares should be issued openly to the SEBI directly to the investors in the market, or should it be placed privately and all that. So this is what we call as for all this, the approval of the SEBI is necessary, and SEBI will give the permission only if the requirements are satisfied. Therefore, a merchant bankers will be assisting the companies to get the permission from the SEBI for stock exchange approval and the SEBI approval for issuing the security. Second one is finalizing the appointment of the following agencies. When the issue starts, the following members have to actively participate in the issue management mechanism. One is called as an advisor to the issue. Advisor to the issue is the person or expert institution which advises. They act as a co-manager of the company for issuing the securities. Every time it guides, because they are fully involved in the marketing mechanism of the shares. Therefore, advisors are to be appointed. Then Underwriters to the issue. Underwriters are the people who provide the minimum subscription necessary for the companies which are newly operating. So this minimum guarantee of issuing the shares will be undertaken by these underwriters. Underwriters may be the institutions, normally the merchant bankers, who undergo underwriting agreement with the company that the company shares will be definitely sold in the market. So if the company does not sell the shares in the market, underwriters have to invest money from their own pocket and facilitate the financial supply to the company, whether the securities are sold or not, because the whole headache of maintaining the share issues will be taken over by the underwriters. So underwriters needs to be appointed. It is mandatory under the SEBI that any company comes with the issue of the shares. If the minimum subscription is not satisfied, the minimum shares are not sold in the market, the company will not be allowed to operate or execute its any new expansion activities. Therefore, to reduce the risk of non cooperation of selling the securities in the market, it appoints the underwriters. Underwriters are the agencies who give a guarantee of selling the securities. So they are to be appointed. Next one is broker to the issue. How many brokers should be there? Because you know that public cannot directly buy the securities from the what you call as companies, because there are a lot of legal issues connected with it. It is sold through agents called brokers. Brokers are the people who buy the securities on behalf of the uh, investors in the stock market and sells the securities on behalf of the investors. Individual investors cannot buy and sell directly the securities as you buy the products in the mall. Directly you go to the mall and buy the securities, buy the soap or any items. And if you want to sell anything else, you directly go to the marketplace and sell the product like vegetable vendors. So such kind of entry is not there in the stock exchange market, because stock exchange market is fully regulated market where rules and regulations are to be followed. Therefore, no individual person is allowed to buy and sell the securities directly in the stock exchange market like the grocery shops. Therefore, the products, what you call as instruments of the investments, are to be bought and sold through a broker. Broker is a licensed agent middleman appointed and approved by the Securities Exchange Board of India, where normally the company appoints them. To them only you can buy the securities of the company and sell the securities of the company. So brokers will assist you by to follow the legal rules and regulations for buying and selling the securities. So therefore, brokers are to be broker to the issue have to be appointed. Then advertising agencies, if at all the initial public offers or any kinds of offerings given to the public for knowledge notifications, so advertising agency is most essential. So advertising agencies will give the advertisement in the channels and create an awareness about the investments of the product, regarding the issue of the securities to the public. So these agencies have to follow the necessary legal framework where the advertising should cover almost all the informations relating to issue of the securities. You might have seen when the advertising is made by the company for issue of the shares, it has to give all the legal requirements, that is the details relating to issue mechanism, methods and everything. So it is a detailed legal involved information. Therefore, advertising agencies will normally assist the companies in advertising. So they are to be appointed. So merchant bankers will help to do all that. Then printers and registers to the issue. Printers and registers for book buildings and all that are will be assisted by the uh, merchant bankers. So here the merchant bankers will take the full charge of issue mechanism before issuing the securities in the market, provides all the necessary facilities to the company. So company is relieved from all these tensions. Step number three, advise the company to appoint auditors, legal advisors, and board of directors as per the SEBI norms. As per the Securities Exchange Board of India norms, the legal advisors and board of directors and board of directors as per the uh, SEBI norms, it follows it, because during a issue mechanism you need all these things, auditors and all that. Then step number 4, pricing the issue. Issue pricing means deciding the face value of the shares, where the merchant bankers will help. The share prices will be decided on pro rata basis, on specific basis by the uh, company, or else taking the assistance of the merchant banks, or it can decide the prices based on the demand of the product in the market, that is through book building and all that, tick pricing and all that. We'll discuss when we are discussing the different types of issue methods. Next, drafting prospectus, where the merchant bankers plays a very important role in drafting the prospectus. Prospectus is what do you call as uh, an agreement made open to the public for investments. It gives the details about the securities, issue mechanism, company details, company past history, and all that. Prospectus is an what you call as a invitation given by the company to the open public for investing the money. So prospectus is normally issued when the company comes to the stock exchange operations in the open market in the initial public offers. So this prospectus needs to contain certain kinds of specific things which are legally mentioned. You cannot miss these involvements. So therefore, drafting the prospectus as per the guidelines of the Securities Exchange Board of India and Companies Act is most essential. Therefore, merchant bankers will help in this case. So when the prospectus is ready, it is issued to the investors for investing. Those who want to buy the securities before investing money, they want to know certain things relating to security and the company and method of issuing and all that. So these people will buy the prospectus, read it, and get satisfied with all the informations, and then they will apply for that. So this is what drafting of prospectus. Sixth step is obtaining the approval for the prospectus. Very important is obtaining the approval for the prospectus is most essential, because unless and until the uh, securities and stock exchange authorities accept this prospectus, it cannot be floated in the stock exchange market. Therefore, approval is most essential. Next one is filing the prospectus with the SEBI. After the approval, you have to file it out. For filing and all that, there is a procedure where the merchant bankers will assist the company for this procedure. And marketing of the issue, uh, marketing activities of the issue, wherever the advertisement is to be given, information has to be given to brokers, training the brokers, understand, creating awareness in the market. All that activity will be made by the. Then last one is underwriting the issue. The merchant bankers can also act like the underwriters, and underwriting is a guarantee contract where the companies are given a guarantee of issuing compulsory specific shares in the market. So that activity will be made by the merchant banker. So these are all the pre activities of the securities. Now we will see the post activities, issue mechanism and all that in the next lecture. So this is relating to issue mechanism.